but I didn't want those two characters together because that was going to intertwine. And so a lot of people who are probably seeing the clips that Lynn McGinnis, my publicist, is putting out, think, oh, Megan and Alex are together. It's there's
Interesting.
other intertwined relationships, and that makes it more interesting because you broaden that kind of, because people get interested in Megan and she's got her own stuff, and they get interested in Alex and he's got it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I've had people ask me, I have a very, speaking of strong female characters, I have a very strong female character that demanded that she turn from a secondary character in a prequel novella trilogy for me. She's like, no, I'm in this whole series, and she's so formidable in very myriad ways. I'm like, okay. But yeah, but like I know people are gonna ask me, like, are these two in the male character that I wrote from the start, are these two together? I'm like, nope, and they never will be. For a lot of different reasons, but for some like that you mentioned there, yeah, it's like because it is even a slow burn, right? It's like eventually it fizzles out, or it becomes redundant, and then it's like if you keep going, right? Yeah. So and like, yeah, there's certain times where I'm like, I wish they had kept them separated as characters instead of intertwined that way.
Dan, you have a geofence around you that I don't have around me, and that is you're a high school teacher. So you have to be a little bit careful. I can go edgy on mine, but if I was a high school teacher, I wouldn't be able to do that because people would look and say, "Wait, that was a little bit too far, don't you think?" In that one scene, and I don't get crazy about it, but like a romance novel, but I take them to the edge, and it's fun to do that, but you can't do it when you're a teacher of.
Oh yeah, like I had a friend ask me because because I have I like had a parent ask me. I was like, they're like, what about your urban fantasy? I was like, the first prequel novella. I was like, it's kind of like borderline between. There's like a lot of violence and swearing and stuff. He's an ex-Marine, so he's in the Marines then, and like there's a lot of like they just use a lot of sexual innuendo and just different stuff, right? Like he's a Marine, right? He grows and matures over time, becomes a different person, I would say, based off of a lot of his experiences. And he's not tropey, but like and my other character, she's actually in the military as well, which people find out later, but a different branch. But yeah, like I just tend to write like, some swearing, but mostly like PG-13. I always loved Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, like Kevin Hearn for Iron Druid Chronicles is a little bit more, I would say, for like the R range. There's like, sexual scenes and stuff like that. So I tend to not write things with my own name that I can't like teach in class essentially.
There you go.
If you skip a word or two, it's just like kind of worked out that way. This is like what I like to read. Not that I don't read grimdark and stuff, but yeah, like what I like to write is really like those more clean fantasies and maybe a little bit of stuff in urban fantasy. But yeah, I can totally see what you're saying. I've had a lot of friends that are teachers who are authors that like they definitely have pen names. They won't do like on air, camera interviews and stuff, which I totally get. Or sometimes they do and they just leave it as the pen name, which I totally understand. So I think that's really interesting. But yeah, it's totally true. Well, I think that's I just personally I think that's a good idea with. I'm not saying that other characters, right? I think it just depends on the characters, right? If they do get together or don't. But yeah, I think sometimes it's good to know as an author, right? Or a writer where it's like you just don't feel like two characters should be together for various reasons. So I always tell people, I had someone ask me that recently about mine. I'm like, no, they told me literally like the two characters, like, nope, not interested for various reasons. We're great friends. We can work together really well, but that's it. So I think it's also good to recognize that as well.